while there's still a lot of work being done in Christchurch after February the 22nd, we look back at some of the situations where there were literally too many volunteers to help out, including the farming army.
We did have a bit of pushback to start with because they were wanting to bring every front-end loader and large tractor that was sitting idle on their properties and drive those straight down the main south road towards Christchurch. But we had a pushback for a while, needed to get ourselves very organised and then move from there into to what was a wheelbarrow and shovel operation for the first 3 or 4 days, and then some of the larger equipment could be brought in and start to make a difference.
So obviously somebody coordinated it.
We had a wonderful team. I have to say that at the start we had no idea what we were doing, and we were using very simple tools. But as it evolved over the first 10 days, we got a bit more sophisticated, and we had a great team. A couple of the girls from the Feds office in Christchurch, were the twins, Shona and Carly, were responsible for the operations and coordination. We had a group from young farmers came in to support them, and we had a huge movement of Federated Farmers women and rural women arrived to open up the kitchen and get that cracking to feed all these people that were coming to work for us.
You got any idea of the numbers?
Over the period, I think we're about 4,500 people units. Some of them obviously were there multiple days. They contributed something like 35,000 man-hours to that to the shovel and wheelbarrow brigade. We had 65 pieces of equipment, and they worked for the last half of the Farming Army operation right through. And they moved considerable amounts of silt in quite a quick time.
Just keeping the fuel up to them would be a challenge, wouldn't it?
Well, the food fuel was the most important bit, and the other challenge was actually having bottled water. So we were able to work with the Christchurch City Council on that, but the food uptake was pretty large. We were doing lunches and evening meals for the guys that are out there, and later on we started doing meals for those people that were less fortunate out in the streets. So I think we put a couple of thousand lunches out there, and about 2,500 hot meals on top of feeding the people that came in every night.
It's absolutely amazing, that spirit, and I'll say Canterbury spirit.
Absolutely, I'm very proud to call myself a Cantabrian, and very proud of what these people have done. It's a humbling experience to watch people marching into the showgrounds and being prepared, didn't know what they were going to. All they knew, they were there to shovel silt, and they gave their time so freely.
How did you get the word out so quick?
There was a lot of media. We had a great media team headed by David Broom in the Fed's office in Wellington, so he tapped a few shoulders. We have a text messaging system that went out to all the members, so there was a text messaging going out, member advisories and the phone network. So on day one, 450 people turned up. We thought we might get 100. But on day two, 800 came. And in that group, there were a number of schools that made their time available. All the kids wanted to do something. And in addition to that, Lee Golding from Canterbury Rugby, he fired up their text system, and we had about 250 rugby players on that Sunday also out there with their shovels going flat out.
I mean, it makes you proud, doesn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I look back now and just in awe of how generous people were, the sponsors we had, and there's a huge list of sponsors. But right at the beginning, in the first couple of days, on the first day, CRT came to the party and they made available all their mobile barbecues, their tents. They also cleaned out their health and safety equipment and all the bits that we needed. They were hugely generous. Rabobank came to the party with $15,000 in cash to help fund the urgent needs that we had there. Tegel Foods rolled in with 50 cartons of smoked chicken, and so we had all this happening, and it just grew and grew and grew, and the generosity of all the people that were there was fantastic. And I need to mention the Canterbury Showgrounds and the team there that literally walked out of their offices and let us walk in and take over for a whole weekend, the first weekend. Enormous.
Arana Wildlife Park is about to lose headkeeper of exotic mammals, who's off on a new adventure overseas.
Over the last 14 years, Graham Petrie has seen the development of breeding programs aimed at saving endangered species. His particular love has been for the cheetah.
When I started here, they had a breeding program in place. Management had realised that they're not a very easy cat to breed, and they need dedicated staff to it, and they offered me the position of looking after the cheetah program, which I gratefully accepted, and have been spent basically the last 14 years working with them, and realised that there's some very special requirements this particular cat in a captive environment. Unfortunately, the cheetah has a lot of issues genetically. They are naturally highly inbred, so therefore a lot of breeding problems. And something that we realised many years ago was if you didn't know them and they didn't know you, communication could be missed between the two.
Rana has 17 cheetahs, some from overseas and some born at the park. Mixing the two bloodlines and working with an international breeding program, it's aimed at breeding the healthiest cheetahs they can.
Ultimately, here in the region, we want to hold a healthy collection, so if something drastically goes wrong in Africa, we've got animals to send back for release.
Most of the cheetahs have a close relationship with Graham, particularly those he's hand-reared. In one case, a first-time mother abandoned her 4 cubs. For the first 6 weeks, he and another keeper worked a 12-hour day, 7 days a week, tending the cubs, who now regard them as parent figures. One of the big attractions for the public is the cheetah chase, a chance to see the cheetahs in action.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic thing to work with and run with the cats. They really enjoy it. It's something that we ask them to do. We can't force them to do anything. But generally a lure moving at speed down the paddock is enough, encourages them to give them some exercise, and it is magnificent to see this cat at full stretch and full speed.
And now Graham is moving on.
First of all, I'm heading off to the UK, other side of the world, go and do something different for a while. One of my big passions is large birds of prey. They hold some great collections over there, which gives me an opportunity to have a look and maybe possibly get involved with something a little bit different. Thank you for Christchurch for supporting us here at Arana Wildlife Park over the years. It's been fantastic.
That's CTV News. I'm Rocco Pullins.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.